Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here, Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Having to having to get to an office offsite at early.
Yeah,
Man, I complain about this every single day, don't I?
What's up with that?
Oh, and those of you, I'm not typically a complainy kind of person.
She's not.
I'm typically not. I don't have a problem waking up early, but it's just getting in and all of the things, all of the trappings, all the stuff that has to be, and yeah, we're like ready to go, and I'm like, are we on the right internet? No.
Yeah. Well, there's also the thing about we've been living in Florida too long. Like this morning, we come running out like, oh, we didn't allow for defrosting the car. Like, that's not something
that wasn't
used to think about. I lived in Oklahoma and forever. Forget you got to allow for frost time.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That and love visiting family. All of the things. Had a really lovely visit with a cousin.
One of my cousins.
I've never met before, and it's great.
Cookies.
She brought biscuit Cheetos.
Oh yeah, don't tell them what it is. Anybody of our listeners out there who can tell us what a biscochito is? Chime in there and put it in the comments and win bonus points.
So, I'm not gonna. Can I continue with the story about biscuit Cheetos?
Oh, all right.
Okay. So, I was told last night over dinner that that biscuit Cheetos are really great with coffee, and so I was the last one out of bed, which again is not normal for me.
Right.
And it's been happening more often now that we've changed time zones. So I'm the last out of bed, and I, come rumbling out, and I'm usually like this when I first get up though. And it's like, hi guys, good morning. And they said, do not put creamer in your coffee till you've had a biscuit Cheeto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to, it was like ceremonial. A dunk, taste. It really was good.
So, good morning, Bill Elizondo.
Bill Elizondo probably knows what a biscuit Cheeto is.
What a biscuit. I ask a lot of people of Spanish upbringing what a biscuit, and they don't all know what a biscochito is. So it might be just our family or our region, whatever. But
George, you're just mean. Rub it in.
Don't do that, George. For those who can't see the comments, he said, I don't have to defrost my car
I'm in Tampa.
Florida. Yeah, true. Yeah, we're aware.
So the biscuit Cheeto, delicious. And I did not realize when, because I've heard about biscuit Cheetos and I've had them, but I didn't realize that there's alcohol. They add alcohol to these biscuits. And it's really quite tasty. And
is it a biscuit or is it a cookie?
It's kind of between a biscuit and a cookie, and they're delicious.
All I can tell you is I only ate them at cookie time. I never ate them with a meal.
Yeah. So the other thing, I was like, we're getting ready to go, and I'm like, where are my glasses? All right, those of you who wear readers, and these are readers. I typically
Hi, Emily.
Hi, Emily. Good morning.
Glad you made it for her story about the glasses.
So I thank you. I find it interesting. I don't know. So I those of you who wear readers, you usually need more than one because you don't wear them all day long. Good morning, Shelley.
Shelley.
You wear them when you need them, and this is one of the cases that I need them to be able to kind of see the stuff that's happening. I mean, what kind of mess would we be in if I didn't wear glasses?
I can't see any of it.
So I'm like, we're getting ready to go. I'm like, where are my glasses? And they're not next to the bedside where I normally keep them, and so they were on the counter in the kitchen, and so I put them on, and we're okay. Whichever way they landed on my face like this, and I went, this is unacceptable. So on the drive over here, I'm like bending. Okay, but back to the thing, glasses. I buy them in the gross. I have multiple, all the heck over the place, And so
She's exaggerating. She doesn't buy them 144 at a time, but she does buy them in bulk.
yeah, Bill, yes.
Yes.
They are a
sugar,
sugar, and alcohol.
vanilla, and a little bit of alcohol. Some lemon. You got to put some
And
lemon.
lemon.
In
And we found out that that's like a secret ingredient, and Mexican vanilla.
You just gave away the whole family secret.
No, sorry.
Mexican
See, now
vanilla.
this is just going to drive. This is going to drive me.
Yeah.
So I usually have a ton of them. I had them in a bag that we were in a hurry when we left Tampa, and we were in a hurry, and just all of the things. And that bag was supposed to get shoved into one of our suitcases. And guess where it is?
Mhm.
It's in Tampa.
Yeah.
In an air,
Yeah.
it's in Tampa. So I have one pair of glasses. And
Oh,
I
boy.
was like, dang it.
Life gets complicated sometimes.
Oh, Bill, yes, they're at least in the Rhodes or the Trujillo family recipe, there is alcohol. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So, we'll have to, I apparently it's a family secret, so I can't share the recipe. Sorry, guys. I know
No,
everyone
you
now
can't
wishes
do
they
it.
had a biscochito with their morning coffee.
Well, she runs the risk of being disowned by the family. I mean, if you share too
I
much.
just barely got in.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that. Just a little. We are in the process of for conferences next year and all of that fun kind of stuff. Is we're going to get for the morning show coffee mugs made that say the morning show on them. We thought, how appropriate would that be?
Right.
So, when we all hit the conference circuit, come find us.
Yeah.
Because we'll probably have some coffee mugs unless everyone runs, and if you have extra glasses, bring them because I likely will need them.
Uh-huh.
So, what else do we have before
Well, we need to make the announcements about next week.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I would look at the schedule because I thought you told me that we had somebody on Monday, and I don't see that person
Okay.
on
Well,
the
it's
schedule,
because
so-
it's not on your calendar.
Oh,
It's
I
on my
see.
calendar.
Mhm.
So, next week, we have on Monday, Mr. Brent Carmichael will be joining us.
That'll be fun.
And yeah, we're really looking forward to that. Those of you who listen to our other podcast, these glasses are gonna drive me. We're gonna
Bill
turn off
says,
the
where are you
thing.
going, Bill? Bill
well,
says,
no,
have
it
a
was-
wonderful morning show.
Oh yeah.
So he's off to
so-
do something.
And enjoy. He's done
Yeah.
with his 75 hard, so he's probably out to get a biscuits and gravy.
Or he
with-
tuned
with
in
a
thinking,
mimosa.
I thought this was a buy here, pay here show, and all I hear is cookies and glasses. That's where he's going.
So,
He's
okay,
leaving.
Brent Carmichael will be joining us. Brent Carmichael is one of the moderators for NCM, which is like another 20 group kind of. But NCM's been around since 40s, 50s, something like that. 40s.
Mhm.
They've been around a really. I mean, I think of all of the offerings in this space, they've probably been around the longest. But he right now, when we do the other podcast, Tote the Note, it's where we kind of hit some of the more meaty,
more
it's more serious a
expanded
lot of
subjects.
times. There's quite a few in there that Jim and Brent do, either just the two of them or as like their co-hosts kind of. And so we're really excited to have him on the morning show. A little bit
Absolutely.
lighter. We can, I seriously enjoy him before we get rolling on the Tote the
he's
Note.
fun
So he
and
is
smart dude.
smart dude. So he will be joining us on Monday. And then the coffee guys will be joining us, coffee car guys, will be joining us on Friday.
Okay.
And so,
That'll
it's
be
like, hey, podcast, scratch.
They'll be
We'll
the-
have you on. And
Yeah.
and we were at those of you who went to Super Forum, we were kind of like across from each other, and really high energy
Yeah.
guys. They
Yeah.
really are.
It just made me think I was in a coma just watching those guys.
This is
Like,
this is Jim and his excited
Yeah,
face.
right.
So we
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's next week, and then we've got the week after. We've got Monday, Friday guests as well. Chuck Bonanno from did I pronounce that right?
Banano.
Banano.
That's what I always say.
From DPG
Mhm.
and Buckeye will be joining us the following Monday, and then Maggie.
On the 23rd.
And
I
Maggie
think.
P. We had a conversation with her about how do you pronounce your last name. She says it's just Maggie.
Pagesic. I'm going with it. I'm
yeah.
just doing it. Pagesic.
From CNM Coaching will be joining us not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. So
Mhm.
we've got a pretty good group of people that are coming in, and so hopefully just great stuff. I've really enjoyed all that they have to offer. to the industry. So
Yeah. How about you want to get the document thing loaded up that we
Okay.
created yesterday?
He's
while
going to
I
talk, and I'm going
introduce
to
you guys to the
kind of
subject of the
talk.
day.
Okay.
So this came up because we had been working with a client recently, and this is the kind of thing really we do all the time, but we have a particular client that we've been working with that is really just we are mapping out all the stuff, all the structure of their operation, and it's all part of a plan, that for their case involves, many layers, but as we go through this with clients, it's why I put the topic for today was kind of like, are you buy here, pay here people are out there juggling a lot? Like, are you finding yourself juggling? And I always say, dealers and buy here, pay here have a lot of balls to keep in there at one time. You
Oh,
got all these
yeah.
different departments and all these different elements to your business that, some retail dealers wouldn't have. And lots of businesses just don't have as many moving parts as a buy here, pay here operation does. And obviously some of those moving parts are optional. But as we kind of go through, there's a lot of things that we intersect. So a couple of concepts that I want to introduce for those of you not familiar would be a gap analysis. Like in business, you can perform a gap
Mhm.
analysis, and that's about just going through your business and identifying all the gaps. Like where do we have any disconnect and gaps? So there's something that I don't, this is probably a real word, but I'm starting to use the phrase disconnectivity. Like, there's connectivity we all talk about, but in some places in our business, there's a layer of disconnect, or there's a level of disconnect in what we do. And
Mhm.
it's not surprising because, when we go through this gap analysis, and we also, a lot of what Michelle and I end up doing with new clients is going through what we call a SWOT, or what is called a SWOT analysis, SWOT, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So when you start to stack all those things together, you start to look at the gaps in the business, and you think about, okay, so who's got this responsibility, and just sometimes as you go through this, in fact, a little, side note, when Michelle and I were preparing this document, just yesterday, I had sketched it out on paper, and then she was kind of beautifying it, as we call it. And as she created the document, I realized this morning we completely left off service.
I
And that's because we don't work a lot in service. So it's why it wasn't necessarily front of mind for us. But it's like, wow, that's a whole department that some dealers have
Mhm.
that we left off of our table, this
Mhm.
document. So, she'll add that, and we'll share this thing and make it available for you guys to think about, because this is an example of how I'm very visual in what I do.
Mhm.
And I like to see it. I like to sketch it out, map it out. And as I work with dealers, I find a lot of dealers, see value in it too. It's like just being able to see the stuff and recognize. And I think sometimes when you throw all these pieces up there, you realize, oh yeah, there is a lot. Dealers are out there working with, and we're working with a kind of a general manager in training, if you will. And one of the opportunities for this person is to help address all of this disconnectivity. Like, how does a deal flow from sales to underwriting to collections? Like, how does that
Mhm.
flow? And as we all know, there's often a lot of technology in that handoff, and
Mhm.
is that technology all connected well? Does that function well when we move it from our CRM to our underwriting? Good job. When you move it to CRM to underwriting, for those of you who stepped away, it's now on the screen. So you may want to bring your cup of coffee and come back
Mhm.
over and see this document that we created. But like I said, this one's missing service. We'll add service later,
Yeah.
and
And
then
actually,
share it.
this isn't the final version, but
Right.
it's got all the stuff except for
Yeah.
service.
And so
Yeah.
it's kind of just, I'll introduce, folks, that this is kind of when I think about a business, that section that you see at the top in blue, the way I described it, Michelle's like, I think of it this way in terms of what's it look like to a customer? Like, most of that section in blue is the part that the customer would really see. Like if
The
they came in,
external facing.
yeah,
Yeah.
external facing things. Like if you think about what's the customer experience? If they drive by your lot and they pull in, they
Mhm.
meet somebody, they buy a car or whatever, that whole thing is often, part of that whole experience. So pre-sales, inventory, sales, and you can rearrange this order, in whatever way. But if you just think about the customer experience, there's pre-sales, all the stuff that we do before we ever meet a customer,
Mhm.
or things that the customer observes before they're actually a customer. So an example of that for me might be merchandising. How we merchandise the
Mhm.
lot. That's all part of somebody's responsibility at the dealership typically. So who owns that, you
Mhm.
know, and now we got obviously inventory, sales, underwriting, collections. Those are all things that we're all quite familiar with. And then I just like to introduce that pre-sales thing to remember there's a lot of stuff we do before we ever meet a customer, you know,
Yeah.
before we ever have a
That
customer on
for
lot.
the lot.
Right.
Yes.
And so now when we start getting into business structure, you've got customer engagement, which these can, again, go in any particular order, but there's administrative and bookkeeping. So obviously there's a ton of stuff we could lump under administrative. That can be petty cash management. That might be title work, that all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff that we might put in an administrative category that a person doesn't necessarily have to know buy here, pay here to sit in that role and do that job. Then there's accounting. We all understand sometimes that's outsourced, sometimes in-house, sometimes our accounting has onboard general ledger, and sometimes it's out
Yeah.
offsite, you know, there's all this stuff. There's advertising and marketing, which you could say goes in pre-sales. I mean,
Mhm.
but it's some combination of technology and outside, you know, sometimes it's outside parties that are creating the advertising. You know, there's also marketing, which to me includes surveying customers and making sure we know that we're,
Mhm.
you know, creating the right solution for customers. HR and payroll, compliance and legal, you know, those are things that we understand are,
Like
you know,
essential pieces,
yeah,
and everyone in any business, any size, touches
right.
at some point. I mean, it's like these are the just the really important building blocks
hmm
per se of a dealership. And yeah.
Well, and part of what happens in this gap analysis is, you know, I
Mhm.
started thinking about the things that we see often that kind of fall into some cracks or these gaps because pick website. Is
Mhm.
website so over on the sides you see we got technology,
Right
ancillary
here.
products
Yeah.
like you know, obviously reinsurance would kind of fall in the
Mhm.
ancillary area. On the left side, you got capital management. But when I think about just something like a website, so who does maintenance on the website? Is that an IT technology thing or is it a marketing sales funnel thing? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
It's both, right?
And
And more.
yeah, and yeah, it's depending on the size of the dealership. It's kind of funny because when we go through the SWOT analysis, we are going through all of these pieces, and because when we talked about juggling, that's like how many balls each dealer has in the air. I mean, that's a lot of balls in the air. And depending on the size of the dealership, we'll sit down and we're kind of going through all the things.
Mhm.
And we ask as we go, it's like, who does this? Who does this? Who does this? And smaller ones, it's like me,
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
me. My aunt does that one. Me, my
Yeah, or yeah, and then and we go ask the
it's
aunt, and
just
the aunt says they're doing it. Like,
yeah,
oh, they
it's
just
like,
told us
okay,
you do
so
it. So,
yeah,
you know,
but here's the thing is that when you I know when we're doing the SWOT analysis too, is it's like where are your strengths,
mhm,
weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is really where we take a client through to just kind of analyze each part of their business and then decide is this a strength, is this a weakness, is this an opportunity, or is this a threat. And this is a really great structure for all of you out there. Where I'm going to make this available to this so that people can use it as a visual. And it's, when we talk about working on your business instead of just in your business, this is kind of like a structure for you to start thinking, all right, pre-sales, where am I at on pre-sales? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my
mhm.
opportunities? What are my threats? Inventory, and going through all of those things. And then, then you have a much more comprehensive, like, these are the things, and then you start to prioritize. But this is except for service, that was the one thing we need to add to that. But like I said, we don't do an awful lot of service consulting.
So if you think about gaps in any of these processes,
Mhm.
it's like that whole connectivity. Where do we have gaps or disconnective,
Mhm.
you know, pieces? Where do we have sort of opportunities in terms of flow, like
Mhm.
inefficiencies? How well do these things hand off from one to the other? And I give you some other examples, like if I ask you about insurance enforcement, is that an administrative function or is it a collections function? And the answer again is Yes.
Depends on where you want to categorize that, but keep
But it
it
has an
within
impact
that.
on
Yeah.
both. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
if you're making it a collections department function, then that adds an
Mhm.
administrative function to your collectors and it takes them away from collecting. So
Mhm.
these are all examples of the things that we help,
Yeah.
dealers sort through. And it's not always simple. Dealers all
No.
do business all different ways and there's no one answer. It's just that there are some answers that are more efficient than others,
Yes. Yes.
right?
And when we work with some of the bigger dealers, each one of these legs, there is separation. There is like, this is the person, this is the stuff, or especially the ones in the center part there, that we have someone that handles this and they might have a team or something with them. And so, like I said, when we talk to dealers that are newer, it's like, there's like 2 or 3 people that handle all of the stuff.
Mhm.
So this is also something, as you're thinking about hiring someone on, as like, what are the pieces that you want to take off your plate?
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting one. Vendor management should be
Yeah.
added
Yeah.
if it's
I meant to ask that question
not.
already
I
to
don't
let us
have
know.
any glasses.
See if it's on the list.
It's
Yeah.
like, so I have some in Florida I could mail you.
Yeah.
Facebook user.
Facebook user number 107. Yeah, no, we appreciate
yeah,
that.
that's and anyone else that sees something that we're missing on here, but we
point.
hadn't thought about vendor management, because we are vendors too, but man, we need managing sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think to their point, vendor
Uh-huh.
management is an additional layer besides just payables,
Or-
which, we have
yeah.
payables in there in terms of, accounting and
Oh, thanks,
bookkeeping.
Shanta.
Yeah. So I would like that. Yeah. So yeah, vendor management. So, and some of our vendors require more management than others. So
Yeah.
you say, who you are. Anyway,
you know who you are.
Yeah.
But this is a really great structure for as you start to grow your team. It's a good idea. It's a good idea to not add another layer that does everything.
Mhm.
That you add a layer as you're adding team members that are they're taking ownership of certain things that are and it's that way as you grow, that there's you have a better idea of like, okay, here is where we now have an opportunity. And so we can add someone here and take this part or something from someone else that has 3 jobs off of their plate as well. But
Yeah,
it's just
and
a
this
really good
also
way
ties
to
back. You
organize
can
all
go
that.
back for those of you who want to take this on and start performing your own kind of internal gap analysis. You might also go back and look at the 3-part series we did back in, I guess it was 5-part, whatever month we did our Management Monday,
Oh yeah.
because that also kind of ties into what we're doing with this other client, where we have to prepare the list of, kind of who does what, right?
Mhm.
And who should be doing what is what we'll figure out at the end. But let's just start by making sure we don't have any gaps. Who's currently doing what? Who's the first responsibility?
And that
on each of these
Management
things?
Monday was it wasn't necessarily about that. It
Mhm.
was about, there's probably a lot of dealers out there, I don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have time to, and so that Management Monday was all on time management, carving out the time to be able to work on your business instead of in your business. So if you're
Yeah.
looking at this and it's a little overwhelming and you're like, I don't have time to do some kind of analysis on this, go back and listen to, it was September, October,
Yeah,
August or September, Management Monday, on the morning show. And every week we would tackle something new and add a new piece of homework. And so if having time to carve out to work on your business is a challenge for you, you can do that. And if you can't find it, reach out to
Yeah,
reach
you
out to
probably
us
do a
and
search
we'll-
on
yeah.
YouTube for Management Monday. Odds are it'll come
Yeah.
up there because we had a handful there, and I don't recall if we put them in a playlist, but probably YouTube is the way
Yeah.
to go for that. But yeah, I think as we think through this, by the way, if we can just stop and say, if those of you who still tuned in, just maybe give us a thumbs up on, do you like the subject? Do you like the graphic, except for the things we've left out?
Because
Give us
Michelle
some-
needs a pat on the back.
We need to give Michelle some reassurance this morning. So she had to get up early, and she just needs a little motivation to keep going. So a thumbs up would really do her a lot of good this morning.
Yeah.
No, that's not the reason. I just want to know, because I think sometimes we bring this sort of dry stuff, and I think, I don't know
Yeah.
if dealers want to hear this. Like,
Yeah.
I want to hear from you. Do you think this is a worthwhile subject?
We just want to make sure that we're resonating, or that
Well,
there's value in some of the things that we, besides just listening to us banter and me laugh.
And this is the stuff we talk about all the time with our clients, and I just don't know if people want to hear about on the morning show. But
we know our clients find a lot of value in it, so there's that. So,
and one thing we can also say, because we're not sitting in front of a client, we can say, some people might watch this and say, "Oh yeah, we got all this," and I'm thinking, "Do you really? You got it all? You got all
you might
these
have
bases
all
covered."
of it, but it's like I said, it's my, this person's handling 7 of these, and this person is my aunt that might come in once a week, or this is, and so I just, as you really start to develop and sharpen. And it doesn't matter if you are a very small dealership or a large dealership. All of these pieces, it's really a good idea to do a gap SWOT on all of them.
And when we go in and do a SWOT analysis, one of the things on that list is obviously opportunities, and weaknesses become opportunities. And I can just tell you, we've yet to do a SWOT analysis that we didn't come away with some opportunities on the list, and typically several, right? So then
it's just a matter of prioritizing them. It's like, what do you want to hit first?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you want to hit first?
So I'm sorry, Michelle, we have not a single thumbs up. I'm sorry. It's just people don't like
no one likes it. Okay.
I don't know if maybe they probably just don't like your graphic. I'm not sure.
That's probably it. But
they might have preferred to see my handwritten sketch. So
I don't think
you don't.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So no. Hey, Double H is hiring. What's that saying?
In January, would love a copy of the SWOT form.
Oh,
Thank
cool.
you, Jared.
Very nice. Yeah, of course. Happy to do that.
So all right.
We can wrap up and let
we'll
folks
be
get
sharing
back to their
this,
stuff.
and then then we can also, I have a sheet for SWOT. It's really simple. It's almost like the 4 square. Remember the 4 squares when you used to do sales?
I do, yeah.
Well, it's a 4 square, and it's you just kind of taking each of the pieces through and departments through all of the things. And it's also a good idea for those, when you say hiring, Jared, one of the HR is probably one of the things that I see that a lot of dealerships don't think about, but it's really important. And so part of HR is doing reviews, like you hire someone new, and then you, after their probationary or training period, their 3 months, you do a review. This is we're going to keep you on or not, but it's important for most employees, most people are out there, to have some kind of like an annual type of review, at least to say, all right, here's the things that we just really appreciate you doing. Here's the things that we think you could work on. So if you hear that, it's like, here are your strengths. Here are your opportunities. Here are your weaknesses. Here are some of the things that we need you to work on right now. So doing a SWOT type.
Did you catch that? She said,
okay, sorry. I would really, really, really well. Actually, if you're the boss, and it's like, these are the things that we need. As I'm speaking, I'm the dealer.
Yeah.
So doing that kind of SWOT analysis with as like an annual review is really a beneficial thing to do with high tech red. No.
It stands for home run, Jerry.
Yeah. And, working in all the different places that I have through my career, is I really appreciated when what they would do is they'd send me, it's like, do your own SWOT analysis. We're going to do one, and we're just going to get together and talk about it. And it's like, how can we help you? What are the things you want to be able to do? What are your opportunities? All of that. So it's a great opportunity there as well.
Yeah. We should let folks get on to their work on their Friday. Don't forget to join us.
I didn't even say happy Friday.
Yeah. They're already gone. They're all off doing their thing.
I know,
so just don't forget to tune in on Monday. We got Brent Carmichael. We always have a few laughs with Brent. We always learn a few things when Brent comes around. So
we have, because I know you guys, this is something that you all very much so appreciate, and that you need to be reminded of. You have 2 more weekends before it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and I don't want folks out there to feel like they need to get me anything very expensive. Like, it doesn't have to be anything.
Amazon gift card works well.
Listen, it does, really don't feel like you need to spend a lot on me. So
All right, everybody. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today, and hope you have a fantastic weekend and enjoy your warm weather or your cold weather, wherever you may be. Have a great weekend. We'll
Glad you
talk to you
tuned
all
in.
later.
Talk soon.